Hi Avyan and Smayan. This is Amma and
This is Nana.
in few days you guys are going to celebrate your 4th birthday and this whole experience has been surreal. First of all, happy birthday to you both and we love you to moon and back.
For this birthday, we thought of documenting your birth story, and I'm pretty sure we forgot a few details here and there, but we'll give it our best shot.
Amma and Nana decided to try and have kids right after their first anniversary and thought the first step to extend our family is to buy a house. And we did. Days and months passed by looking for the double line on the pregnancy kit, but that never happened. After a year of disappointment, our gynecologist suggested we get some tests done and recommended us to go to the infertility clinic. And they gave us two options: keep trying or go with IVF and utilize our young age to favor us.
So we decided to give it a try, and to be honest, I was thinking only statistically on what could go wrong. Two young healthy people, and didn't even think of a negative result.
Soon, we had a huge blow, and years worth of bad news followed. We sold our house we initially meant to raise you guys,
And we moved back to an apartment.
almost 6 years later. We saw the house we are living right now and had no intention of buying it.
It was way above our budget, but this time we fell in love with the place, and the family chose to sell the house to us from all the bidders, and we are homeowners again.
After moving into this house, we tried to give it our final shot at IVF, and I believe this is one of the toughest tests of our life. But at the same time, we knew the density of the love and support around us.
Our family, friends were constantly praying and sending us positive vibes. I don't know if you know how it all works, but it's a series of things that needs to happen, series of calls that would decide our fate either way. Day 3, day 5, and the final day of verdict.
The final day of verdict came on April 1st, a Wednesday, and it's like God couldn't pick a better day than April Fool's Day. I went for a blood draw that morning around 7, and we both took off from work waiting for the call. I guess we were just worried that it would be better to stay home in case of a negative result.
So we were sure the clinic closes at 4:30 p.m. and we still haven't received a call at 4. People that we were sure that the clinic closes at 4:30 p.m. and we still haven't received a call at 4. The people that knew have been praying and calling us very carefully not to stress us further. Finally at 4, I gave them a call to check, and the lady did say the results were in and the nurse would call us to discuss further.
After that call, I was sure it's a negative result and sat on the sofa with a very heavy heart. And Madhu's phone finally rang at 4:35 and I asked him to take the call as there was no strength left in me to take any more bad news. He took a pen and started writing on the notepad in front of him, and while having a conversation with the nurse, he wrote the words positive. That moment, I felt on the floor and started crying, and Madhu's mom ran downstairs hearing me scream and hugged both of us as we were crying. The test isn't over yet. We still had to go into an ultrasound at week 6 to make sure that this isn't a chemical pregnancy.
When we went to the ultrasound, we came to know it was twins, and there were no boundaries to what we were feeling at that time.
The sound of the heartbeat and the picture of a tiny bloop in the ultrasound gave us so much happiness. After the 12th week visit, we started telling our friends and extended family very carefully because we were still worried anything could go wrong and also wondering if this was even real.
Some of the reactions we got were so memorable.
It was a tough pregnancy. We had too many scares, rushed to the hospital many times, and always came home with 2 strong heartbeats. No matter what happened throughout the pregnancy, we were always reminded that you too were a result of a prayer, and you had no idea how many people prayed and fasted for your safe arrival into this world.
So Amma started having contractions from week 28 and was off and on bed rest and had to drink 6 liters of water a day to calm down the contractions. During one of those weeks, one day Amma called me a few minutes into work day, panicking and complaining of intense pain. So we thought it could be contractions, so I rushed to pick her up, and it was crazy drive back to the hospital. She was lying down in the back seat with contractions, and I probably broke so many rules to get to the hospital quickly.
I was often on bed rest for 4 weeks, and the day before your birth, we went to 34th week visit and got the permission to get off bed rest and get back to work the next day. So we went to buy our Honda Odyssey, and when we were there, we got a call from the doctor's office to come admit in the hospital for the night as my blood levels were wacky. We finished buying the car, ate some smash burger, and went to the hospital to check in. After a few hours of IV fluids, they shifted us into the labor room from the triage room so I could be more comfortable. The doctor that night, Tracy Jones, came in and informed us that they would put me on IV fluids for a few more hours and check my blood draw at 5 a.m. in the morning. The plan is to check my blood levels at 5 a.m. next morning to see if the blood levels went down. And if not, we'll have to decide on early delivery. I remember looking at the statue of Jesus in the triage room and asking him not to put that burden on me. We barely slept that night thinking about it. Few friends came over to check on us that night, and we weren't able to even sleep for a few minutes thinking about what the morning could hold for us. Next morning at 4:55 a.m., my water broke and I was prepped for C-section right away. We quickly informed our friends and family, and they took me into the surgery room around 7:30 a.m. I remember being so worried as Madhu was held outside, and the nurse asked me if she could bring Madhu in. At 8 a.m., Avyan came out screaming, and the doctor remarked that he is not tiny. And later, we came to know that he was the one who broke the water and made the decision easy on us. I took one look at him and thought that he looked like Madhu, especially his chin. We both had tears in our eyes, but before we could process, they took him away for further testing.
And the second one came out and he wasn't crying. That was Smayan, our wild child, and he came with his legs first and his lungs full of water, and he wasn't crying.
We were so worried that something was wrong with him, but they wrapped him and gave him to us for a quick minute, and I vaguely remember kissing him. They both were taken to the NICU right away, and I remember asking Madhu to accompany them. It was around 6 p.m. when I got off the drugs, and the nurse said she will take me to my kids in the NICU if I took the steps from the bed to the wheelchair. They were probably the hardest 5 steps in my life, but I took them and got to see my tiny little peanuts.
My sisters flew in that evening and surprised us. Now that we look back, we realize how much we needed them. Atta stayed back to take care of all 4 of us.
And it was the best gift we could ever ask from her. They were in the NICU for 3 weeks, and I had to literally fight the NICU staff to get them out of there. And boy, it was a tough first year.
As far as the kids' health, there were many things that could have gone wrong, but they didn't. They aced their health checkups every time, and we were happy but sleep deprived.
This year, you're going to be 4, running and learning a bunch and bringing us joy every day. and we couldn't have chosen it any other way. Happy birthday, Avyan Smayan.
Happy birthday.